Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to week 2, day 4 of the C-CAP virtual summer culinary program, hosted in conjunction with CTE out of Chicago Public Schools. So again, we are back in the lab, or back in the kitchen today, and as you know, based on the recipes, we've gone through all the recipes, day 1, day 2, day 3, we're on day 4 today, and today we're going to be making unbelievable chocolate pudding with whipped cream. So we're going to make that particular dish, and the reason why, if you have not picked up on this already, this chocolate pudding does not use milk or any other type of aging device to actually get these items together, or floating device, so we can actually make sure that we get these items cold and chilled. We don't use cream, we don't use milk, no starch, no nothing. We're actually utilizing avocados in the recipe. That's right, we're using avocados today when we're actually making this particular dish. I was very surprised when I saw this, and I was very interested in basically it caught my eye, so I wanted to make sure we use this to show you down the line. There are several other ingredients that we can use to actually get this, well, I can't say get this, but actually to use as a recipe or a substitute. And there's some reasons why we actually would use avocados instead of milk or anything else in the recipe. But I definitely wanted to follow through with this recipe. When I looked online and researched it, a lot of the pictures that I saw really looked like regular chocolate pudding, at least what I grew up with tasting. So today we're going to follow through. We're going to do that. But this is, again, our little avocado. Again, this is just a regular avocado. I actually have 2, but I just wanted to show you. They come big and small. But again, today we're going to use 1 recipe because the recipe calls for 1. Now, what we're going to do today, what I want to do is actually mix my ingredients together. When I say mix my ingredients together, what I'd like to do is mix my liquids together. So if you notice, going down the recipe on page 15 in the recipe packet, talks about 1 large avocado, 1 quarter cup of unsweetened dark cocoa powder, quarter cup and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of whole milk or coconut milk or almond milk. And then we have 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and a half a pinch of cinnamon. And to be honest, based on that recipe, I really think, based on recipe, actually I'm going to use both avocados, and not to mention, if I don't use it, it'll probably go sit on my counter and go bad. So we're going to follow through and use both avocados in this mixture, and it shouldn't affect us at all, especially in terms of the ratios. But I'm going to follow through and use both avocados. Again, 1 because this is small, and just looking at the recipe, it says large avocado, and these are definitely small. So I'm just going to combine the 2 and make us a large avocado, so to speak. So just peeling the little sticker off the avocado, so we can get that just going on the side here. Now, again, going back to it, my goal. My goal is actually to mix our items. So I'm going to mix these items and make sure that I mix my my cocoa powder and my liquids and whatnot. I want to actually get this, step back just a little bit. What I want to do is actually get my dry mix with my liquids, especially since I'm working with the cocoa powder. I have dark cocoa powder and regular, I'm going to say light to medium cocoa powder, but I'm not going to use this one. I researched this online, and using the regular cocoa powder, the color comes out a little bit less pleasing. Can't say on camera what the pudding looks like, but you definitely want to stay away from the regular unsweetened 100% cocoa powder. You want to use the dark, actually, and I'll show you as well, you want to use a special dark chocolate, because it gives it a lot more chocolate color, and it looks real pleasing to the eye. I'll just say that. So nevertheless, I'm going to take my liquids. In my liquids here, I'm going to add, so here's 1 tablespoon of coconut milk. I'm going to pour that in. I'm also going to pour in a tablespoon, drop my cup there. I'm going to pour in a tablespoon of coconut water. So now I have my 2 tablespoons there. And then last, I'm going to do 2 teaspoons. I'm going to go back and do it one more time. That's 1. Oh, a little bit of a mess. That's 2. So again, the recipe calls for, let me wipe this up here. Recipe calls for 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of whole milk or coconut milk or almond milk. So there we go. Okay. Pretty sure you can see the mixture there. So I wanted to put that in there just for flavor purposes. And again, also I like the fact that this coconut water actually has the it has the pulp in it, or has a little bit of the coconut meat in there. So I definitely like that, because I've seen some recipes that actually play around with having coconut, real coconut, toasting up coconut in there as well. So I wanted to keep that in the can. And not to mention I like coconut water. It's really nice. So that's that. Now, what I'm also going to do is add my next liquid, which is going to be a teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, put that in there. Now, I'm going to go to my cocoa powder, and my cocoa powder says about 1/4 cup. So I'm going to measure this out. Oh. Right. Take my knife. I'm going to level off my cocoa powder so I make sure I'm getting the exact amount. There we go. Now again, it says 1/4 cup. Again, of unsweetened. Unsweetened. You don't want any sugar in this, because if you think about it, what you're doing, and wash my knife off here. What you're doing is adding a lot of sweetness to the chocolate pudding. You don't want to have it overbearing with sweetness or too much sugar or anything else. So be very careful or mindful when you're putting a lot of other liquids in there with sugar in there. So I've already put that coconut milk in there. That's a little sweet. The coconut water is a little sweet as well. So you got to be careful when you're actually putting those items in there. So also another reason why I wanted to mix these items together here, because I'm going to have to mix this thoroughly, because coconut, I'll take that back, the Hershey's dark chocolate, the cocoa powder, actually has a little bit of it's starch base. What I mean by starch base, it has a starch molecule, and it's going to be it's going to sit on top of this liquid. So I'm going to have to actually make sure I stir this enough to make sure that there's no grittiness, or there's no pockets of cocoa powder once I put it inside or mix it with the avocado. So again, what I'm going to do is whisk that very well after I put all of my other ingredients in there. So now I'm actually also going to do 1/4 cup and 2 tablespoons of my brown sugar. So again, this is where that sweetness comes in. Okay, there we go. That's 1 tablespoon. It's 2 tablespoons. Knife off. Now the recipe also says 1/4 cup. So it's almost equal brown sugar and equal cocoa powder. Alright. I do believe that is it. Put my other ingredients over here. Try to stay organized. Oh, I also got to put the cinnamon in there. Move these ingredients to the side. I don't know about you all, but I like to try to clean as I go as well, so I don't have too much of a mess to clean up at the end. Now the recipe also says in terms of cinnamon, the cinnamon, it says about a 1/2 pinch. Take out my measuring spoons, and believe it or not, I have a measuring spoon that says a pinch, so I'm going to use a little bit smaller than that. All right, there we go. I'm going to add that in. Now, these all to the side. Now I'm going to whisk this together. So again, just to make sure we follow. In this bowl here, we have a 1/4 cup of unsweetened dark cocoa powder. We have a 1/4 cup and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. We also have 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of whole. In this case, we actually used 1 tablespoon of coconut water and then 1 tablespoon of coconut milk. So we can make sure we definitely have 2 tablespoons of some type of liquid. And then we followed up with the last 2 tablespoons of, last 2 teaspoons with coconut water. And this is the mixture we get. It's almost like a syrup. You all can see that. And I had to do this because I wanted to make sure that those powders, especially that cinnamon and that cocoa powder, I wanted to make sure that they were evenly dispersed and there was no pockets of unfinished or unincorporated cocoa powder mixed in this mixture here. I can still see a couple of pockets here, so just making sure that I actually disperse those so the powders, when somebody bites into it, they don't get a mouthful of cocoa powder or cinnamon that's not thoroughly mixed in the mixture. All right, and it almost looks like chocolate already. Nice color to it. All right, there we go. Now I'm gonna sit this to the side. Oh, that smells delicious. Okay, now here we go. So I'm gonna take my avocado. I'm gonna cut into it. Take my avocado, spin it around. There we go. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna take that piece out right there. So I don't want any dark spots in my avocado. There's a second avocado. So we got a little bit of brownness in the avocado, which is not a problem, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. It's not going to hurt you or hurt anybody, but I'll take that, put that on the side. And a lot of that's just coming from the stem. As the avocado ages, it will oxidize the avocado and you'll see little black spots as well. So all right, now, all right, and these are definitely ripe because the seeds are falling right out. I think I've had these for about, almost about a week and a half. So I definitely want to make sure that they get really ripe and soft. Got to make sure they get real soft. Because you do not want a hard avocado. You want something that's going to be very pliable and something that's going to allow you to make it into a paste and cream out your avocados. All right, so here we go. I'm going to scoop the avocado in the bag. And again, I'm sorry, I missed a step here to show you all. Notice how all I did was just take a gallon-sized bag. So I'm going to use that to actually get my item, what's the word I'm looking for? To mash my avocado. Put that in my trash there. And I just made a well, and I'm scooping everything in. Just filling this avocado meat as I'm pulling it out. I'm definitely picking up on the fact that it's really soft, and that's exactly how I want it. Again, you do not want hard avocados. Right. All right, also let me point this out. Notice how I have on gloves because this is a pudding. Again, we talked about this all this week in terms of wearing gloves in the kitchen. This particular item is considered a ready-to-eat food, so therefore, I'm wiping my hands off on the side here. Therefore, I need to make sure I wear gloves at all times. I cannot touch these items with bare hands. Maybe the avocado with bare hands, but what I've noticed with some people when they pick up the avocado and they get to scooping it out, if they're barehanded, they still touch some of the avocado. So you want to be careful with that. I myself would just wear Again, I would wear my gloves at all times. That way, I'm not touching the avocado barehanded. So, right, there we go. So again, gallon size bag. I got my avocados in the bag. I am going to just crimp the bag a little bit, and then on top of that, I'm going to just start having fun and smashing my avocados. And this is one reason why I said you need to make sure that you have very soft or very ripe avocados, because if you have very ripe, very soft avocados, you mash the item and you don't have, and it's not really hard. So you're almost, another way of thinking about it, you want this almost as pliable as room temperature butter. You got to have it as like room temperature butter, because simple fact that it's not, you won't be able to do this in a bag. You'll also notice that if you've seen some recipes out there online, they said that you can use a blender or a Roku, which is a basic commercial size blender that you'll see used in a lot of restaurants. I don't have a Roku, but I do actually have a blender, but I don't know everybody out there has blenders. So I improvised and said, hey, why don't we just put it in a gallon size bag and we can do the same process. We just have to make sure that we get ripe avocados. And I made sure that we had ripe avocados because I went and got those items about a week and a half ago, so that I make sure that they were soft. Or if you're at the supermarket, you're going to make it like tomorrow, you just have to make sure you pick out the softest avocados, so that when you're going through this process, it does not, you don't run into any glitches, and you got a smooth situation. So what I'm doing here is just going through the bag. I'm finding the chunks of avocado that are moving around, because again, this is really smooth. It's almost pliable, like room temperature butter. I have to go through it and make sure that I'm running my hand or rubbing my hand over the avocado. Okay. Now, some reasons why you all why we're using this is because, again, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not even going to answer that question. You all are going to answer that question in our session. We'll put that question out there. Why are we using avocados in this recipe? And another question is, why is the avocado so versatile in using in this particular recipe? So again, why are we using it? And as well as, sorry, just going back over the avocado. And as well as, why would the avocado be so versatile in this particular recipe? There's a reason why the avocado can be used in this recipe. It has something to do with the makeup of the avocado. And I'll stop there. All right, I think we're almost there. Just trying to make sure that I get all of the little pieces of avocado smashed down. And I think we're almost there, but I see a couple of pieces in here. I just got to make sure that I smash them all down, because the goal here is to make sure that it does not look like avocado. We want to make sure that it looks like chocolate pudding. All right, bear with me. We're still getting there. I can still see a few more pieces, so you have to go over it with your hand just to make sure you press down. Now, you can also use a rolling pin as well, but I think this avocado is so ripe and so soft, I should be able to use my hands. I shouldn't have to roll over it like this, but again, you can if you want. You just got to make sure that you don't puncture the bag, and you got to make sure that you get all the pieces as well. All right, and it does take a little bit of while. You got to make sure you thoroughly go over the bag to get a lot of the pieces. And make sure you smash them all down. So I think we're there. All right, yeah, it's looking almost like avocado. Well, avocados. It's looking almost like guacamole without the other ingredients. So there we go. Take my cup, make a whale again, because this is where the magic happens. Just to show you how it looks in there. Okay. Again, still looks like a guacamole. However, again, without those ingredients. So now what I'm going to do is take our dry ingredients and our liquid ingredients that we put together. I'm going to scoop this in the bag, and I'm going to try to get as much as I can. Especially how much I pay for these avocados. Avocados, for some reason, are very expensive. And that's another question I'll put out there. Why are avocados so expensive? Again, why are avocados so expensive? Yeah, it smells really good. Really good. All right, so I can smell the cocoa. I can smell